So, hello, I'm here today with Rory Coleman, who is my running coach, and it's the most important person to help me make my dream come true, to run Marathon des Sables this year in April, in 10 or 12 days, something like that. So, Rory is a professional running coach. He will explain in a minute how he got here, but he has amazing numbers. So far, Rory has run 973 marathons, 240 ultramarathons. He has 9 Guinness records, and next week he will start his 13th edition of running the Marathon des Sables. Rory, thank you for this time of yours and for your precious help along this last year. Tell me, how did you get involved with running?
Oh, it's a long time ago now. I'm 54, but when I was 31, I had a Road to Damascus day where I decided that I needed to change my life. I was very unfit, definitely addicted to alcohol and nicotine, and I got to a stage where I was 95 kilos. And I looked into the mirror and I didn't like the person looking back at me. So on the 5th of January 1994, I decided to change my life. And 8,120 days later, I've run a marathon roughly one a week ever since. I didn't think at the start of that I was going to run hundreds and hundreds of marathons or 1,000 marathons or whatever. All I knew was that on that day I needed to go for a run. That run lasted 100 metres. But it didn't matter because at the end of 100 metres I felt absolutely elated that I'd found my thing and the thing that was going to be my therapy. And going from a lifetime of negativity, it gave me the impetus to introduce positivity into my life. And for a long time, I used to run on my own in the dark and just try and get life straight again. And very quickly I got very fit. I lost weight and I ran a half marathon. And then, like lots of people in the UK, I ran the London Marathon, and that's when all the madness started, really.
Really cool. So you have already run a lot of marathons, and also you ran from London to Lisbon in 2004, right?
Yeah, I've done lots of different things. What happens is if you run the London Marathon, you can then look at different marathons. And actually, because you're enjoying yourself so much, a marathon isn't long enough. So you start looking for bigger things. So I ran some ultra marathons, some baby ultras. And then I started looking at mega day racing where actually you could just keep on running them every day. I did a 1,000-mile challenge in London in 2003, which was at the same time that Paula Radcliffe set the world record, where I ran 1 mile every hour for 1,000 hours. So that's 6 weeks on the road, which was fantastic. I was a professional athlete, got paid by the London Marathon to run the London Marathon, which was good. And that led me on to running London to Lisbon. I've done lots of those things, and my 9 Guinness World Records are for running on treadmills, so I wanted to see how far I could run in a day. I ran 163k in a day on the treadmill, and then I carried on for another day and then carried on for the rest of the week and set lots of different distance records. For me, running is very much a journey, and it's interesting, you've actually been on that journey for the last 12 months. The journey starts when you decide to run the world's toughest foot race. Entering the race is the painful bit because that's the bit where you pay the money. And then you have to start earning the race. Money can't buy you the race. It buys you a race entry, but it doesn't buy you a result. And running's all about investment. I've spent an enormous amount of my adult life running thousands and thousands and thousands of kilometres over hundreds of thousands of hours. And it's a bit like learning a musical instrument or learning to swim the English Channel or learning to fly a plane or a helicopter. It's an aptitude that you have to learn. It takes a long time. And what happens eventually is that it becomes very much second nature. And running for me now running 42k is a bit like finding some loose change in your car. Mm-hmm. It's just, so what? It's just another number, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And they're fun, they're exciting. You can run all over the world, you can see different things, you can meet exciting new people, you can have adventure, all just from running. So it's a very positive thing, and it's something that I now teach to other people. So when I started running back in 1994, everybody thought I'd gone mad. Everybody thought I'd lost the plot. Now everybody I meet wants to do what I'm doing, because it's not home, it's not work, it's not the mortgage, it's not children, it's not the pressures of everyday life. All those things get put to one side, and for a few days or a few hours, you get to live in a free world where it's just you versus a distance on your feet. And that's the adventure that you're into now.
And running is becoming more and more popular, so you have much more people nowadays running marathons, half marathons, and now people want to get to the next challenge. So you can hear a lot of people telling that, oh, I want to run my first ultramarathon. So what advice can you give to those who want to adventure themselves in their first ultramarathon?
I think what you have to do is you have to pick something that's achievable. There's, in the UK, the 100-mile distance, the 160k distance is becoming really popular. But I think people go from 42k to 160k in one go. And actually, it's easier to do it in small steps. Also, there's a tendency to do too many races. When I did Marathon des Sables the first time, that was my first time up there in 1999. That was my 159th marathon. I'd already done 5 years of hard, intense marathon training and running, whereas people go to Marathon des Sables having never done an ultra marathon. It's crazy. I think what you have to do is you have to pick something where you believe you can do it. If you set off on a distance not knowing where you're going or if you're going to get there, the probabilities are you won't. If I go somewhere, I like to have a tom-tom and I like to see how far it is, what time I'm going to get there. I like to know how big the distance is. For some people, they could just set off and ask people along the way, but I think you have to be quite calculating about it. So I like to tell people to have a real think about what they're going to do and pick a distance that's suitable and that's achievable. Otherwise, I think you'll have problems and you might not finish. I've set off 973 times to run a distance. Mm-hmm. I've always completed that distance.
And how about this year? So what suggestion do you have for all of us participants of Marathon des Sables this year, which will start next week?
I think you should think about it being a bit like jumping in a swimming pool. I think you have to jump in and you have to find out what the water's like. So it's a bit like describing colour to somebody who's blind. Mm-hmm. So I can tell you what it's like. I can say it's the hottest place on earth. It's like being on the inside of a volcano while you're having your feet hit with hammers, while you want to drink loads and loads of water that you will never ever quench your thirst. But until you're there, you won't know what I mean. It's only an impression of what it's like. Mm-hmm. When you're there, it's a very strange place. When you come back, it's strange to think that you were ever there. It's a bit like going to Neverland. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful, bright, blue sky, yellow sand. It's like heaven and hell on earth. It looks heavenly, but it's hell. So I always say to people, why don't you go there and for a day just get used to it? What happens is people run too fast. Mm-hmm. They try too hard on the first couple of days, and it's easy just to ease yourself in, get used to it. it's not a running race. It's not an ultra marathon race, a marathon de sable. It's a self-sufficiency race. Mm-hmm. It's about drinking your water, looking after your feet, not taking much kit, making sure you get sleep, making sure you take salt. There's lots of different things that you have to do during the race. If you miss one out, you don't drink the food, don't drink the salt, you've got problems. Don't eat the food, you've got problems. Any one bit in the link, and it breaks, and you've got problems. It's very much about how you look after yourself. That's something which I'm really good at, and hopefully I will be again. But you have to respect the race as well. Just because I've been there 12 times doesn't mean I've got a guaranteed finish place. There's no guaranteed medal. There's no MDS medal. It doesn't, you can't buy it. Mm-hmm. This isn't going to just give itself to me. I've got to earn it, and also I've got to respect it. And if you respect it and embrace it, I think you'll find out you'll love it. No matter how hard it is, how hard it feels on the day, about a week after you've been in the desert, you'll wish you were back there. Because in the desert, it doesn't matter about anything else. It's all about the desert. I find the desert a very comfortable place. It doesn't matter how much money you have, where you live. It's all just about you versus you in the desert, and I like that. I like the solitude of it, and I like the enormity of it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I go back every year.
Rory, thank you very much. You can find Rory at rorycoleman.co.uk and see you next week in Morocco.
You'll be fine as well. I think you've changed dramatically in the last 12 months. You've gone from being a walker to a runner, mm-hmm. and I think hopefully you'll go there and you'll just find your pace and your way of doing it. And it's your journey. That's the biggest advice I can give you at all. It's all about you having your journey.
And it's also a dream coming true, and you're really a very important piece of it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.